Dien and Da Nang, a contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, a bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans, a promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earned. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Sharing has never meant as much as it does now. We share the things we love most in life for the world to see. But what if we could actually do more with our sharing than just collect likes? What if this sharing could be used to make a difference? Now there's a place where we can put all that sharing to good use. The National MS Society is asking people to make a difference and share what they love with someone else who loves it too. Whether it's surfing, dancing, or whatever is important to you, we've created a place that'll help you get your experience out to the world. If you have a story, share it. If you have a solution, share that too. Join us at wearestrongerthanms.org, because together, we are stronger.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye? I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
How can we make Alabama a more beautiful state? By keeping our roads, highways, schools, and communities litter-free. It doesn't take much but to think before you act. So what does the next generation say?
Pick it up, man.
Take pride in your school. Did you just litter? Clean it up, dude.
How can you make a difference? Adopt a mile. Join the Alabama Clean Campus program or join in the Spring Cleanup or Alabama Coastal Cleanup. And remember,
don't drop it on Alabama.
This message by People Against a Littered State, the ABA, ALDOT, and this station.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life and in every corner of America, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. The Army National Guard reacts to domestic operations in each of America's 54 states and territories, including Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Guam, and the District of Columbia. Each state National Guard's unique domestic role is to act as the first line of defense in support of civil authorities in their state. The Guard's emergency responses include search and rescue missions for floods, combating wildfires, hurricane and tornado recovery, and the presidential inauguration. The Army National Guard. We are always ready. We are always there. And in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
The following is a production of WEGL 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone! It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams!
WEGL Sports.
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series!
Where every
Lewis is gonna score! Touchdown Auburn! Touchdown Auburn!
Game.
They're not gonna keep him off the field tonight! Holy cow!
Lives. It's now time for the Extra Point. Auburn's best sports talk personalities on Auburn's best station.
We the North are now we the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
Auburn's most watched sports TV show, Auburn's best sports talk radio show.
Lillard, long range three, and it's good! At the buzzer, Damian Lillard! Are you kidding me?
Call in at 334-844-9345 to join the debate.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there, and way out of here! Second deck walk-off home run! Grand slam, Bryce Harper!
Lock in. The Extra Point starts now on WEGL Radio and Eagle Eye TV, presented by WEGL Sports, where every game lives.
Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come.
And welcome into another edition of the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon, and joining me in the studio is Andy Hewling and Jack Hart. Andy, we'll start with you. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday, November 20th?
Doing good, Jared. Woke up early, went to work at 5 a.m., and now I'm here after a class, so ready to talk some sports. It's a good day so far.
It's a good day so far. We'll head over to Jack Hart. Jack, is it a good day for you so far?
It's all right. Day just started for me. I did not get up at 5 a.m., so yet to be determined, but so far it's off to a great start here on the Extra Point.
We have a jam-packed show for you ready as we do a deep dive into the NFL, as we're hitting that point in the NFL where teams are starting to get eliminated. By teams getting eliminated, I mean literally just the Bengals. And on top of that, just deep diving to the NFL, who surprised you so far, who's disappointing you right now, and who's going to be the team to make that second half surge into the playoffs. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about college football, as well as we're getting right down to the nitty gritty. We're getting down to the LSU and Georgia SEC championship. We're getting down to the big Ohio State Penn State matchup. it's here. And I truly do believe the next couple of weeks in college football are gonna be off the wall. And there's some other things. There's still the baseball stuff with the Astros. Carmelo with the Trailblazers could have been better. It really could have been better. But we'll get into all that on the Extra Point here on WEG on 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. If you want to call in, you can at 334-844-9345. That is 334-844-9345. Or you can ask a question in the live stream, our live TV stream on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. Ask a question in the live stream. It will come through here in the studio, and we will answer it live on the show. So let's go ahead and let's get started for today. Let's get into the NFL news that's going on right now, and then we'll deep dive into the NFL. If you want to join in on the show, make sure you do it those two ways, calling in or asking a question in the live stream. So some big news right now is, there's the Antonio Brown stuff. So back in the news a little bit, Antonio Brown posted an apology to the Patriots' Robert Kraft for all the drama that he caused. I wasn't able to see the tweet. I don't know if there's many spelling mistakes in it. Hopefully that class at Central Michigan's helping him out. That's the big thing that I'm worried about right there. Gronk won't say never to return, but he's kind of ruling out this year. Maybe he needs a year off. Who knows? But for right now, for all the people thinking that Rob Gronkowski was going to come back this year for the Patriots or any other team, whatever it may be, it's not going to happen this year. Also, on top of that, we talked about it yesterday, but still in the news, the Panthers owner talking about how he won't stand for mediocrity and what that may mean. He really likes Cam Newton. He likes Kyle Allen. He just wants the Panthers to win ball games and not be beat by the Falcons 29-3. Fair. Some other things. Browns' David Njoku is set to return. He's been out for a little bit of time as the Browns try to make somewhat of a decent playoff run, if that's what we're calling it. And finally, some news coming out. Mark Walton cut by the Dolphins. He was arrested Tuesday morning on a charge of aggravated battery of a pregnant woman. Mark Walton was also in a 4-game suspension right now, getting popped for PEDs. So it's been a very troublesome road he's been going down. And we'll give you some updates as that goes along. But let's go ahead and let's deep dive into the NFL. And this week, it is week 12. There's only a couple weeks left. And before you know it, all the playoff matchups are going to start getting set soon. The Thursday night football game tomorrow, Colts at Texans. Both teams at 6-4. That is in Houston. This weekend, some of the big games that are going on. You have Carolina versus New Orleans in New Orleans. Oakland tries to move to 7-4 against the Jets. They should be able to pull that off. Seattle and Philly should be a pretty good game. Philadelphia trying to stay alive in the wild card race. You got Dallas and New England. That is going to be your 3:25 game. Green Bay, San Francisco is your Sunday night football game. And then on Monday night, Ravens, Rams during fall break. What's the game that you're looking forward to this weekend?
I'd say the Packers 49ers. I think that'll be a good game between two teams who are really peaking right now. I think the Packers obviously will pose a threat to the 49ers' one-loss season so far. But I think the Niners right now have an advantage at home, and we'll see what Jimmy G can do against that Packer defense.
Jack, what about you?
Jared, it is Thanksgiving nearly, so that means it's all about the Cowboys. I want to see this Cowboys-Patriots game on Sunday because the Patriots really faltered against the Eagles last week, only winning by 7, and the Eagles making a late push at the end, and the Cowboys having an offensive explosion up in Detroit. So I want to see this Cowboys offense against this Patriots defense. Maybe there could be an upset in Foxborough, and then looking ahead to the Thanksgiving game, that's Bills at Cowboys. So an interesting set of games here for the boys.
Yeah, there's an interesting set of games, and the Cowboys have kind of been the weird team. Don't know how good they are. I mean, I think the Jets game really did kind of dampen the Cowboys' hype train, so to speak. At one point, the Cowboys looked like they were the best team in the NFL. That was eons ago, it feels like.
Yeah.
But they're still in the control of their division. They're up by 1 game on the Eagles. And the Eagles are a whole different story. The the 5-5 Eagles, who had, Super Bowl aspirations, don't really know where they're heading right now, but it's not good. One thing to keep in mind for a lot of these teams is that injuries have been mounting up for a good number of teams. A lot of teams, think about the quarterbacks that started out the year. Think about the quarterbacks that are here right now. There's a lot of them out. And that's what a lot of teams are dealing with. Just going down the list. We don't really know what's going on in Miami. Sam Darnold was out for the Jets at some point. The Steelers have gone through about 15 different quarterbacks. The Bengals bench Andy Dalton. The Colts, obviously, Andrew Luck retired. The Titans changed their quarterback. The Jaguars had Gardner Minshew. The Chiefs had Mahomes go down. The Chargers, Phillip Rivers just looks trash right now. Denver, Flacco is out. For the Giants, they bench Eli. The Redskins, they bench Keenum. Chicago, Trubisky was out. For Detroit, Stafford's been out. New Orleans, Brees went down. Panthers, Newton went down. Tampa Bay, Winston just sucks.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Matt Ryan went down. Yeah. It's been
a dangerous
I literally
year to
just
be
went
in
down the
backfield.
list.
Yeah. Almost every team has had some kind of issue at the quarterback position, maybe save for the Ravens and Rams.
And the Texans, too, just Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, because of that.
Deshaun Watson, it looks like we were saying at the beginning of the season, he'll be lucky to make it through the season, but surprisingly, he's been the lone guy standing, considering how poorly that offensive line has been playing and how bad he gets hit every game.
It's that Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Yeah,
it's just helping him out.
He got kicked in the eye, and he's right back to it.
Just rub the sandwich on the eye, and you'll be fine, right? But on the other side of the break, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of time, and we're gonna do contenders and pretenders. Okay, so who are the contenders in the NFL, and who's just really just pretending right now, right? So we're gonna head to a break. We're gonna come back and just give me a couple of teams that fit into those categories for you. Doesn't necessarily mean they won't make the playoffs if they're a pretender, but they'll get bounced out in the first round. Like you do not believe in this team. And that's what we'll do on the other side of the break. We're going to head to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have a little bit more of the extra point on the other side of the break. Contenders and pretenders coming up. We'll be back in about 2 minutes here on the extra point on WEGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment not found in the civilian world. The Army National Guard can get you started in an array of STEM-related career fields such as information technology, communication systems, special forces engineers, technical engineering, air traffic control, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear science. Get a head start on your career in an exciting new field while earning money to pay for college, all while serving in your own community. Log on to NationalGuard.com or talk to a recruiter in your area to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Want to help pull the plug on cyber terrorists? Or get the skills to work with satellites and other space technology? How about learning the avionics inside stealth fighters? And do you want to reach your goals fast? You can do it and take your life to the next level in the Air National Guard. Because you serve part-time, you do it in a way that works for you. You can achieve your career and educational goals with plenty of time for family and friends. The Air Guard offers nearly 200 career specialties, so you'll get the high-tech skills you need to kick your career into high gear. You can also be eligible for college tuition assistance. The best part is, in the Air Guard, you'll be making a real difference by serving your community and country. So get your future off the ground in the Air National Guard. Call the Alabama Air National Guard at 1-800-TOGO-ANG or visit goang.com/AL.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
See that cute little dog in the pet store? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppies to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 9011 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon, and joining me in the studio is Andy Huling and Jack Hart. It is now contenders versus pretenders here on the Extra Point, as we give our NFL teams that we think are maybe sleeper picks, or maybe they're going to run through the playoffs, and then the other ones that we think are going to fall flat on their face from here on out. So let's go ahead and let's dive right into it. Who wants to go first? Who wants to call out a team first? Who has a bone to pick with somebody?
I will go first.
All right, Andy, hit me with it.
I think right now the pretender in this league, especially in the AFC, is the Buffalo Bills. I think I look at their schedule. This is their remaining schedule, and it is right now the Broncos at Cowboys, Ravens at Steelers, at Patriots, Jets. I think they can win three of those last remaining games. Don't think they'll win against the Cowboys, and I think they'll lose at the Steelers and at the Patriots. I think they'll tank a little bit this year. Not saying that they can't make the playoff, but I think they're going to get a lot lower seed than where they are right now.
Okay, I mean, I would say that's fair. For the Bills, I don't think they'll be getting close to winning the division. They're still 2 games back, and they lost to the Patriots. They do got to play the Patriots one more time, so they can make up a game, but they got to do it. They have to do that in Foxborough, so that may be a little bit tough for the Bills. Jack, how about you?
My pretender is the Minnesota Vikings. I think if they find their way into the playoffs, they're probably going to be matched up with New Orleans, and I don't think they can hold up against that offense, and I don't think they can keep up with that offense either. I don't think the Vikings will win the division. I think Green Bay is going to win it pretty convincingly, maybe by 2-3 games, and I don't see Minnesota faring well in any kind of wild card game. Minnesota should be happy they're in the postseason. If that, I don't know if they'll make it that far, considering how close the wild card race is getting in the NFC. They're hanging on to the last playoff spot at the moment. I think Seattle's got that 5 seed pretty much locked up if Russ keeps playing like he is. I just don't see Minnesota doing anything with a playoff spot if they get it, and they're going to have to work pretty hard to get a playoff spot with how poorly they've been playing this year and just getting away with things like we saw last week against the Broncos.
You know, do you not believe in Minnesota?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I'd like to, because I like the Vikings, but they just haven't given me anything to go off of yet.
Because I would say they probably win 4 out of the last 5 games. I think they beat Seattle next week. Because my pretender right now is the Seattle Seahawks. They're 8-2. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. But you want to talk about, getting out of games by the edge of their teeth? The Seahawks are the definition of that. You win by 1 against the Bengals, 2 against the Steelers, 1 against the Rams, 4 against the Browns, 7 against the Falcons, where you got nearly shut out in the second half. You win in overtime against the Buccaneers and overtime against the 49ers. I mean, they love just playing on the edge. And they have to face Philadelphia, Minnesota, the Rams, and the 49ers still in the season. Man, I don't know. And I think we talked about it last week. That defense, there's something wrong with that defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely having a lot of trouble keeping up with decent offenses. I mean, I think we all can agree Jimmy Garoppolo had a poor game, and yet they still ended up in overtime with the 49ers. Can't do that. If the 49ers don't have an offense at all, you got to be able to put them away. And the Seahawks almost fumbled that game away if it wasn't for the 49ers backup kicker shanking a field goal.
Yeah, and also the Buccaneers scored 40 points on them in an overtime game.
34.
Or 34.
Seahawks scored 40.
Yeah, Seahawks scored. Well, still, over 30 points is still a lot of points given up. Also, that last game against the 49ers could end up being a really crucial game, especially to playoff hopes.
Yeah, I mean, because even though the Seahawks have the win over the 49ers, the Seahawks are still a game back. They need the 49ers to drop another game. That's kind of why that Arizona game was very important for Seattle. They really needed the Cardinals just to knock the 49ers down a peg because they would then be first in the division. But now they got to hope that either they take care of business against the 49ers at the end of the season or somebody else continues to help them out. Because, I mean, the 49ers schedule doesn't get easy. They have Green Bay. They have Baltimore. They have New Orleans. It's not going to be easy for San Francisco, but we'll know how good San Francisco is in 3 weeks. We'll definitely know how good they are when they face arguably the top 3 teams in NFC. They will face them. What about some teams that you're really high on, even though they may be having kind of a shaky run right now?
I know it's hard to take a look at that Texans loss this past weekend and think that team has chops for the playoffs after they got destroyed by Baltimore, but I do think that is a kind of a rematch in the making type game. That's not going to be a repeat performance if these two teams do link up in the postseason. And I'd like Houston to come away with the division just because I don't think they're the most talented team in the division, but I think they have avoided injury the most out of that division. Yes, Watt went down, but that's kind of a given at this point. They've shown that they can overcome that before. And I think with Watson playing the way he is, I think Houston is going to be the one to come away with that division just because they're the ones that could stay healthy. That's not a knock against any other teams.
Andy, what about you?
I was going to say the Texans, but I'll go over to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think if you look at their schedule, the last remaining games are the Dolphins, the Giants, the Redskins, the Cowboys, and then the Giants again. I think that's a pretty favorable schedule for them, except for that Cowboys game might get tricky for them, but it's in Philadelphia, so that always helps to have a home field game against a team like that. I think the Eagles, although they're 5-5 and they've struggled, but they're second still in the NFC East, I think they can figure some things out in these last couple games, make the playoffs, and who knows, they might be really dangerous coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. I think a team that I'm high on right now that I think can make a run when it's all said and done, man, call me crazy because about a month and a half ago, you would have when I say this. I think Oakland runs the table. I think Oakland finishes the season 12-4. I really do think they can. And you look at who they have left. They have the Jets. They do have the Chiefs. But then they have the Titans, Jaguars, Chargers, Broncos. There's one hard game on that schedule. Mm-hmm. It's the Chiefs. It's in Arrowhead, and that's going to be a tough game. But if you know, and by the way, if you look at that game, if the Raiders win that, because I look at tiebreaker, but I believe if the Raiders win that game, they control the division. I think once you go back into tiebreakers, you look at I'm not sure. I have to go back and check. But I believe the Raiders win, they control the division. This Raiders team is going to have 10+ wins. And John Gruden's going to be in the playoffs. So I hope you guys are ready for that. I'm really starting to believe in this Raiders team. They got their win. They got their win over the Lions, Chargers, and Bengals the last 3 weeks. It hasn't been pretty, But the teams that are really good that they played against, they've beaten them, right? Or I'm sorry, they played close with them. They lost by 3 to the Texans. That's a good team. They beat the Colts by 7. That's a good team. They did lose to the Chiefs by 18, but I feel like they're really coming to their own down the stretch. I think they're playing good football. So I think you need to watch out for the Raiders because they're a pretty good team. I'll throw the Titans in there as well. I think the Titans are a really good team to keep an eye on because, I mean, they're just on cloud 9 right now. After that Chiefs win, I mean, the Titans are kind of just doing their thing. They're 5-5. They bench Mariota. They've been playing a lot better. They've won the 3 of the last 4. They did have the loss to the Panthers. But since they benched Mariota, they've played better. They got Jacksonville this week. They got the Colts and then the Raiders. So we'll see. But I think the Titans are playing better, and I'm interested to see where that team goes on from here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other teams that kind of interest you or you're just kind of not high on?
A team that interests me is the Atlanta Falcons because they really look to be completely revitalized. They can't make the playoffs. The best they can go is 8-8, and they need New Orleans to lose out.
And Falcons fans don't want them to win the playoffs.
Exactly.
Or go to the playoffs.
Falcons games don't want them to win because that's just cooling down Dan Quinn's seat, which needs to be hot right now because you can't start the season 1-7 every year. The Falcons are fortunate that they started the season with, fortunate. The Falcons started the season with 6 non-division games, and now they have 8 non-division games, and now 6 of their next 7 games are divisional games. So they have a chance to play spoiler and get in the national conversation for no reason just because of their awful schedule. And it's doing is hyping up Dan Quinn, and they've come away with 2 double-digit divisional wins in the past 2 weeks, and that's exactly what you don't want to see if you're a Falcons fan, because it's just extending the tenure of a guy who started the season 1-7. Is going to have nothing to show for this year.
Not even that. It's draft picks.
Absolutely.
We need good draft picks, and the Falcons are kind of, I don't say wasting them away, but don't start 1-7 and try to go 9-7. You didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of being in the middle of a pack team? Andy, is there another team that just grinds your gears?
I would say just an interesting team to watch out for is the Cleveland Browns. 4-6 in the AFC North. Obviously, don't really have much of a chance to get in the playoffs unless something crazy happens. But their schedule's not too bad. I think they could end up with a winning record. It's Dolphins at Steelers, Bengals at Cardinals, Ravens at Bengals. That's a lot of teams that I think they could get some wins out of. Also, watch out for that Steelers game, which that will be maybe be another WWE SmackDown game come in 2 weeks. So it'll be fun.
We'll see. That's definitely going to be... What time is that game? Is it on prime time? Have they flexed it yet?
It's the noon game on CBS so
Man, I need to flex that game. But with that being said, anything else in the NFL that we need to get into before we head to break? All right, with that being said, we're going to head to our next commercial break. And we come back, we're going to head over to college football and do a deep dive into college football as well. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
I'm Tiffany. I have some tips for you on how to quit smoking like I did. First, I did some reading about it. I found a lot of great advice on how to quit smoking and picked out the ways I thought would work best for me. I started by setting a quit date. Then I threw out my ashtrays, lighters, and matches. I did other things too, like exercising more, and it worked. But I'd still get cravings, especially on long car rides. To help me with that, I put a picture of my mother in my car. She died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes when I was only 16. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. That picture of my mother reminds me that I don't want to miss all the things my daughter is going to do in her life, including turning 17.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Tasted blood and it is sweet.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon joining me in the studio. Andy Hewling and Jack Hart. If you want to join the show, you can call in at 334-844-9345. That is 334-844-9345. Or you can ask a question live stream on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, and YouTube. It'll come through here on the studio, and we'll answer your question live on the show. Hey, we're heading over to college football. Jack, wake up, drink your coffee or water or something. I see you yawning over there. And let's go ahead and head into this week in college football. The top 25 has dropped from last night, and not many changes, so to speak. I mean, when taking the top 10, all that really happened inside the top 10. Minnesota dropped 2 spots. Penn State, Oklahoma, because of Minnesota, moved up 2 spots. And that's kind of it for the top 10. The biggest dropper this week was Auburn, but it was only 3 spots. That was it. Nothing else really happened. Cincinnati dropped 2 spots, even though they won, because they played a really tough game. Iowa moved up the most. They moved up 3 spots. I mean, it was a pretty standard week. Not many things happen. I will tell you this: Iowa State has reached the top 25. So has oh my goodness, it's USC and SMU.
USC's just
23. They're 7-4,
prolonging their coach's job another year because they're going to end the season ranked if they beat UCLA.
Texas, Navy, and Kansas State are all fell out of the top 25. So pretty standard. 3 new teams, kind of I mean, to be fair, look, USC 7-4, Iowa State 6-4. I mean, and they're in the top 25.
Yeah, but Iowa State has wins over
good teams.
Good teams, yeah.
Well, let's see.
I don't know what USC's been doing. I haven't heard about USC in a couple weeks. I think they played Cal last weekend. That's a big question mark.
So what did USC do last week?
I was looking at pictures of Cal's new uniforms, and I think I saw USC pants in the background.
So USC 41-17 over Cal. It wasn't too long ago that USC got smacked by Oregon.
It wasn't too long ago that Cal was undefeated. They were like 4-0, and now they're like 4-8, I think.
And I want you to keep in mind, okay? I want you to keep in mind, because this is very important. Utah's last couple of games are against Arizona and Colorado. If Utah drops one of those games, USC is going to the Pac-12 championship.
Get out of town.
USC has the tiebreak over Utah because Utah's one loss is to USC.
Oh, no.
So if Arizona, who plays Utah this week, is in Arizona, and Utah is a 23-point favorite, and Jack, that game is at 9 o'clock.
I know what I'm going to be watching.
That game was at 9 o'clock. And you said yesterday, Vegas has the Pac-12 championship as a top 10 matchup. And I told you, the Pac-12 has 2 weeks to mess that up. That's the game you need to circle on your schedule. Because that's some Pac-12 after dark stuff that could happen. So keep in mind, we could still see a Oregon USC Pac-12 championship, even though we've already seen it once. So let's kind of just dive into college football. We see the top 25. Any gripes about the top 25, first of all?
Georgia's still in the playoff.
Georgia's still in the playoff. Were we expecting them not to be in there?
I was hoping they would do the right thing and take them out. Maybe replace them with Oklahoma. Maybe replace them with Oregon. But they're there. They're going to be there until they lose to A&M or LSU, whichever comes first.
Andy, do you agree with Georgia being at number 4?
I think so, just because they went on the road, beat a ranked Auburn. I think that's fair.
I think Georgia was probably the most controversial team that was in at number 4.
I think that controversy was mostly last week. I think people knew it was coming this week, so there wasn't much of a shock because it's not like they can take them out of the playoff.
Yeah. Alabama's at 5. So Alabama's still with that outside chance. People thinking that Oregon may not have a shot to jump Alabama. I don't think that's true. I think if Oregon beats what we assume to be a top 10 Utah or, God help us, a top 20 USC in the Pac-12 championship, and they win the Pac-12 championship, they would probably easily jump Alabama. Am I wrong in thinking that?
I think that's right. If Alabama even beats Auburn, I just don't see them having any more, they won't play any more games, and Oregon would have played that extra game. So I can't see how you can keep Alabama ahead of Oregon, who, if they do beat a top 10 Utah, I can't see how Alabama would block their way to being at least 5 and looking to be 4 maybe in the college football playoff.
And look on the bright side. Nothing that Auburn does the next... Okay, no, I take that back. I was going to say nothing Auburn does the next 2 weeks would make them fall out the top 25. And I realized, no, if Auburn lost to Samford, that would be how Auburn falls out the top 25. But if Auburn beats Samford, Auburn should still be the top 25 when it's all said and done. Hey, that's a win for Auburn. Yeah, so that's your top 25. So let's kind of deep dive into all the different conferences that we're seeing. And I first want to start with the AAC, the ACC. So let's go into the ACC and let's look at what we're dealing with the ACC. And there was an article yesterday that I was reading, and it talked about how Clemson's dominance plus the ACC just pretty much sucking is hurting Clemson. And it's just hurting college football in general. Because you have Clemson, number 3, really, really good, but the best team is tied at 3 losses. That's Virginia, Pitt, and Virginia Tech. Everybody else has 4 or more losses, or Wake is 7-3. Wake is 7-3, so we got to throw them in there as well. But it's just, the ACC is bad. And does that hurt Clemson in the sense that when they play eventually the Ohio States, the LSUs, the Georgias, maybe Alabamas, Oregon, Utahs, because they haven't really had a tough game against top opponents, is that going to hurt them at the end of the day?
In years past, I would have said that it wouldn't have hurt them, but I think this year it will. Because normally Clemson would have had that either that non-conference game that would test them, or maybe South Carolina at the end of the year, or some kind of ACC team that was like Florida State or Louisville that was ranked high. But this year, I think you're right. That's going to hurt them so bad. I mean, if they win the whole thing, I will be shocked because I just haven't seen much from Clemson. They're too dominant. The rest of the ACC is just a madhouse. I mean, in the Coastal right now, it's a 3-way tie. Or no, not a 3-way tie, but it could be a 3-way tie if Virginia drops another game, possibly. So we'll see what happens there. It is just a basket case right now in the ACC.
Jack, what about you? What are you looking at in the ACC?
Yeah, I'm looking at all these ACC teams, especially in the Atlantic where Clemson resides, and I'm seeing exactly it's become a problem this year because usually Clemson schedules a non-con or has a decent opponent in the ACC, whether that was Auburn last year that they played, or in the years past when they've had a Florida State or Louisville to go up against. Maybe not even a top 10 Florida State and Louisville, but just something like a ranked team to show kind of a comparison for what they are against the country. But in this situation, and I do think it hurts them because Clemson is coming off. I think everyone's giving Clemson the benefit of the doubt. I think if Clemson wasn't the reigning national champion, I think it'd be very hard to put them in the top 4 week in and week out. I think they'd be getting the Minnesota Baylor treatment of kind of hanging back until they can get proven that they know what they're doing and can contend for a top spot.
Who do you like to come out the Coastal?
Well, I will say Virginia Tech solely for the fact that it's very close to coming down to the Virginia Tech game in the last week, and Virginia Tech has beaten Virginia 15 straight times. Virginia got close last year, and then the voodoo just got to their heads, and they blew the game at the very end. So I would like the Hokies to continue the streak despite what an up and down season they've had in Blacksburg.
Well, also, I like Pittsburgh. I think they can come on out of the Coastal and survive. Why? Because they play at Virginia Tech this week, and that's going to be a huge game in the 2 and 3 spot. And I think they will eliminate Virginia Tech on the road, and then Virginia Tech will come and eliminate Virginia, and then Pitt will sneak their way through.
Man, I'm all on Pitt. I'm in. I'm really looking close to it. You know what, Jack? Go ahead and pencil it in. Virginia Tech Pitt's going to be a game we're picking this week.
Penciled in.
Penciled in. I know Carter's going to hate that. He's probably going to storm in here at any moment. But we're picking a Virginia Tech Pitt game, and you already know what my pick is going to be. That does it for the ACC. Let's move over to the Big 12 and let's just break down what's going on in the Big 12. It's not much to break down, to be quite honest. I think we all pretty much know that barring any crazy things that happen, it's going to be Baylor and Oklahoma playing in the championship. It's not confirmed yet because there's still some things that
Baylor still has to go to Kansas.
Yeah, Baylor still has to go to Kansas. There's still things that can happen, very small, but let's just go ahead and talk about it. Baylor Oklahoma rematch in the Big 12 championship game. I don't is that neutral site or is it for the home team?
It's in Arlington.
It's in Arlington. So neutral site Baylor Oklahoma. Do we see Oklahoma come away with the win? Do they have Baylor's number at this point? Does that loss get into Baylor's head? Or does Baylor come back strong?
I think Baylor can come back strong, but before we even talk about the conference championship, I still think there's still some games to be played because Baylor has Texas this week, but Oklahoma also has a game against TCU, who's not a bad team at all. And then they have to go to Oklahoma State for Bedlam. That's going to be a big trap game for them because Oklahoma State is no joke. In a rivalry game like that, they could knock off Oklahoma. And also, Oklahoma State is 2 games back from Baylor and Oklahoma right now. So if Oklahoma were to run the table, beat Oklahoma, and hope for a little chaos, maybe Texas beats Baylor or Kansas pulls off the upset, there's still a chance for Oklahoma State to sneak in there, but it's still kind of far-fetched.
Jack, what do you think about Bedlam in the Big 12?
Yeah, I think Bedlam's always a crazy game. We always see it go the way we weren't expecting, but I don't think it's going to be enough to propel the Cowboys to the championship. I do think that this Oklahoma-Baylor game has that kind of rematch syndrome of the advantage going to the loser in the first game. However, I don't think, because it wasn't a dominant victory by Oklahoma in the first game, I don't think Baylor's going to have much to learn from this one. They're going to come in with a chip on the shoulder saying, we think we were the better team, we just let it get away from us, and I think that's going to play to Baylor's disadvantage, actually. I think Oklahoma is going to use the motivation of being able to beat this team once and twice, and I don't see how you can keep that'd be 12-1 Oklahoma out of the playoff.
Last thing for the Big 12, then we'll head to our break. Texas is currently 6-4. Last 2 games at Baylor, and then play against Texas Tech. Does Texas finish 500?
Yeah, I think they do.
You think lose to Texas Tech?
Yeah.
Baylor, we can say, okay, maybe that's a loss. But Texas Tech?
I think 7-5. I don't
7-5?
Yeah. For Herman's sake, I hope they win that Tech game.
If Texas finished 6-6, what does that mean for Herman? Does that mean that
he's not gone, but
how many years does he have?
He's got 2 more years to get that 4-loss monkey off his back.
Yeah, because I mean this is coming off last year where they beat Georgia
in the Sugar Bowl. They said we're back, and we saw how that goes.
I wonder if the website's back up again.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, I think Texas can improve their squad. I think a lot of people thought they would be in the college football playoff contention this year. Obviously, it didn't happen the way they thought it would be, but I think they can improve over the next couple years. But with Texas, though, I think that Texas-Baylor game's a big game too, because Texas is still a good team. I think they can go into Baylor knowing that for many years they have been that kind of school that's beaten them and has the pride that they that they don't like Baylor and Baylor doesn't like them, but Texas has always been really good. So I think maybe Texas could pull off an upset and maybe start some chaos in these 1 and 2 spots in the Big 12.
I think the big thing to keep in mind is, how does Baylor bounce back from last week? Because everybody, if they say it's not on our mind anymore, they're lying. That's going to be on their mind until they play Oklahoma again.
And they have a lot of pressure because they know if they lose again, it's done. It's over. I mean, their hopes are out the window.
With that being said, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll hit the other conferences in college football on the Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
I'm Tiffany. I have some tips for you on how to quit smoking like I did. First, I did some reading about it. I found a lot of great advice on how to quit smoking and picked out the ways I thought would work best for me. I started by setting a quit date. Then I threw out my ashtrays, lighters, and matches. I did other things too, like exercising more, and it worked. But I'd still get cravings, especially on long car rides. To help me with that, I put a picture of my mother in my car. She died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes when I was only 16. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. That picture of my mother reminds me that I don't want to miss all the things my daughter is going to do in her life, including turning 17.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hey everybody, Jared Dillard, and joining me in the studio is Andy Hewling and Jack Hart. Knocked down 2 conferences. We got a couple more to go. Let's talk about the Big Ten. The Big Ten's weird. And I know we're talking during the break of some weird scenarios that could still happen. Is Illinois still alive for the Big Ten championship?
Listen, I don't know. Maybe my math is failing me, which is not unprecedented. But they are 4-3 in the conference right now. They have 2 more games to go. And if they win both of those games, logic would stand that they would be 6-3. If Minnesota loses out, they would be 6-3, the same record. And Minnesota clearly beat Illinois earlier in the season. And I've seen a lot of rumblings on the internet of Illinois still being alive in the Big Ten, which I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe one of these conference games doesn't count for some reason. Maybe it was vacated. But
is it one of those 4-way tie things because Minnesota would have lost to...
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois are all right there. 6-1, 5-2, 4-3, 4-3. And I reckon if they all end up, well, I think kick Iowa out because Illinois has to beat Iowa. Minnesota has to beat Iowa. So if Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois all shake down, I think that could be the scenario because
either way, we're just trying to keep the Lovie Smith
because Illinois beat Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And if Wisconsin loses to Minnesota and they all end up 6-2,
yeah.
Whatever it is, they're still there.
Is there a college football playoff machine or a conference machine?
A Big Ten West machine?
Yeah. We came together for the ACC Coastal and just the Pac-12 in general.
Yeah, we need it. We need it every year. Yeah. And then on the other side, it's Ohio State.
Is it just Ohio State? Does Penn State have a chance?
Absolutely not.
I don't think they do in the horseshoe. I think they'll keep it close. I think a little bit closer than we think because Penn State's not a bad squad. I just don't think they're going to have enough defense to stop Justin Fields and the Ohio State offense. But here's the team I look at is Michigan. I think they have quite a say in this race because if Ohio State just happened to lose, and obviously Penn State still would have the head-to-head over Michigan, but you never know. I mean, Penn State plays Rutgers, which, I mean, go figure. I would think Penn State would win pretty easily. But if chaos happens, Michigan is still there to have a say on Ohio State's playoff chances because Michigan faces Ohio State at home, and that will be a good game.
This is a great time to bring up that Ohio State is currently 17.5-point favorites against Penn State at home.
Yeah, that game is College Game Day. It is also the big noon kickoff game. What? You may be thinking, this is the only top 25 matchup. Why is it at noon? Well, because the Big Ten doesn't know what they're doing. This game kicks off at the same time as Auburn-Samford. So I hope War Eagle Productions is going to give us some entertainment during the game because otherwise you won't be able to know how this one's going.
No comment. Yeah, the Big Ten's kind of self-explanatory. Ohio State's going to go do his thing. For the most part, Minnesota should go and do their thing. Now, it's weird because I don't think it may not be said and done, actually. How many losses does Wisconsin have in conference? Do they have 2?
They have 2.
They're 5-2.
Okay, so Wisconsin beats Minnesota. That's what Wisconsin needed.
Mm-hmm.
And if Wisconsin beats Minnesota, I believe that is Wisconsin's conference or side of the conference.
Unless Illinois matches their record, in which case
they'd have the
tiebreaker.
If Wisconsin loses to Purdue, then beats Minnesota, and Illinois wins out, it'd still be Minnesota's conference. It would be.
Either way, let's skip the SEC. We already know what's going on there. LSU, Georgia, who cares? Let's go over to the Pac-12 because that's a lot more interesting. It's Oregon, and who's even second on Oregon's side?
Oregon State at 4-3. Yeah.
How in the world did they do that?
5-5. Oregon State is inexplicably above Washington, who is 3-4 in the conference. Washington.
This is embarrassing, honestly, that the Pac-12 couldn't get anyone better in the North than Oregon State.
Look on the bright side. The Pac-12 could have a lot of teams going bowling. They're all still eligible.
Ugh.
I mean, they got to play each other and knock each other out, but
we could be due for another Red Box Bowl.
Oh, God. What's the Red Box Bowl matchup?
It was Oregon-TCU.
So it's Pac-12 versus the Big 12?
Yeah.
So we're looking at, what's the worst team that could possibly still go?
UCLA?
Colorado and Arizona could both still go at the bottom. Everyone could still go because everyone still has 2 games and no one has 3 overall wins.
I hope you're ready for a Arizona State, Iowa State Red Box Bowl. I feel like that would end 3-6.
Yeah, literally everyone in the Pac-12 is still bowl eligible because everyone has at least 4 wins and everyone has at least 2 games to go.
So, hey, don't really know what's going on with the bowl. Man, bowl season's coming up, and I'm just getting giddy. I love bowl season. But with that being said, is there anything else in college football that we need to get into We kind of broke down each conference. We can talk about the SEC. 30 seconds. Does Georgia have a chance against LSU?
Against A&M, yes. Against LSU, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
LSU's too good. They're going to wipe away the rest of their teams they play. If I were an Arkansas fan, I wouldn't even bother going to Baton Rouge for this game.
Arkansas is going to Baton Rouge?
Yes.
God help them. Oh, my. Oh, my.
What's
the line on that game?
It may be 100-0. Like, seriously. Joe Burrow may score 50 in both halves. Like, I'm telling you, it's going to be that bad.
44 points. The line is 44 points.
That's embarrassing.
It's at 6 o'clock, too.
Oh, God.
It's Death Valley at night.
The 46-point betting line is the largest spread between two SEC teams since 1978.
Holy cow.
Oh, no. Well, hey, but you know what's a good 6:30 game on SEC Network?
Arkansas allowed that to Western Kentucky last week, 45. What's up?
You know what's going down on SEC Network?
Does it involve Kentucky?
No. Kentucky's playing at 2:30 on SEC Network. They're playing Tennessee Martin. And if Kentucky wins, they're bowl eligible. But 5-5 Missouri takes on 5-5 Tennessee. Winner is bowl eligible.
That's what you want to hear.
I mean, if you're Tennessee, that's what you want to hear.
I mean, if you're Tennessee, you know you're not getting that win against Vanderbilt in 2 weeks, so you want to take it now. Because Missouri's going to get a win in 2 weeks when they play Arkansas in Little Rock.
Why are they playing in Little Rock again?
I do not know. It's baffling.
All right, with that being said, thank you guys for joining me on the show. Thank you, Andy, for joining my show. Thank you, Jack, for joining me on the show. Coming up next will be the scoreboard of Bay Marks and Jacob Hillman to join the program. So we're going to head to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in 5 minutes here on the Extra Point on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green. Make it green, 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 green. Make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA. It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on Weagle 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, Weagle FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with Weagle Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WeaglFM.com and Weagle 91.1 FM, Auburn.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of WEGL 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone! It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams!
WEGL Sports,
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series!
where every
Lewis is gonna score! Touchdown Auburn! Touchdown Auburn!
game
They're not gonna keep him off the field tonight! Holy cow!
lives.
I got nothing to lose. Oh, yeah. When I get it, I ain't never going back again. When I get it, I ain't never going back again. 100%, yeah. Pure grinding. When I get it, I ain't never going back again. When I get it, I ain't never going back again.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon joining me in the studio is the scoreboard of Bay Marks and Jacob Hillman. Bay, we'll start with you first. How you doing on today's show?
I'm holding on, Jared. Just a
Holding
few more
on?
days till Thanksgiving break. I'm doing good.
You're doing good?
Yeah.
Just hold on tight, okay?
Trying.
And with that, we move over to Jacob Hillman. Jacob, how are you doing today?
Same with him. Just trying to hold on. Also, it feels like it's been a long time since I've been on the show.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
We didn't do it on Monday. We did have it on Friday, but I don't know. It's been a long time since Friday.
Our fearless leader nearly fell. He's back and better than ever.
Yeah.
And it's Jared Dillard.
You say better than ever, but I'll make it.
How we going like this?
We said that yesterday, and then Carter made a great point of usually when planes stall out and crash, they go like this. So
that is true.
Let's just not say that.
So I'm just saying. It's been a hot minute. Since then, we know that I've fallen ill. Jacob's become a meme, and Bae, I don't know what you're doing in your life.
Look, Gary, there's me. I was next to Jacob. Nobody saw. You can see my hand.
Yes. And half of your face, like at the very end, right before they cut away, half of your face gets on there.
We got on the screen during Samir Dowdy's ankle breaker. They had showed us from one of the corners of the arena, which was cool.
Yeah.
So
you may definitely be in one of the hype videos or videos later in the year. I think one of you.
He already was.
I'm already in one. It's on the video board before they play every game.
It's the
jungle video?
After the jungle video.
Gotcha.
After the first game, they start playing. They'll probably play till like the end of non-con.
Yeah,
and they'll make another one.
They'll get a
conference play.
They'll usually get a new video for conference play. But with that being said, let's go ahead and kind of deep dive into sports. So you want to go NBA first and talk about Carmelo Anthony's debut, and by debut I mean he'll probably last maybe 3 weeks there.
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right. Well, Carmelo Anthony debuted with the 00. 0. And, I mean, he scored 10 points.
I think the over-under for what he was scored was at 10.5.
Yeah.
Oh, so he still failed.
I think the more miraculous thing is that he only shot 14 times.
Only?
No,
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. After the game, they asked him about it. He said, I'm a scorer. And then they came up with a graphic. Carmelo was 4-14 with 10 points.
Good Lord.
So, but I mean, the thing is with Carmelo personally is I think the reason he's been out for over a year is because I think NBA execs are starting to think, Carmelo's career is pretty much over. I mean, he only put up 10 and he started. But it's good for the culture to see him out there. Everybody likes Carmelo and what he did in his career, but a revival was probably out of the question.
Yeah, good for him for getting back out there, but
he said it felt good being back around the team and stuff, which I'm sure nostalgia.
Are we a little bit too hard on Melo? I mean, his first game back, obviously, most people would struggle.
I won't say so because this is probably going to be what continues to happen. I mean, he's like 35 probably up there. He's 35. Yeah, he is. So I don't imagine he's going to come back after not playing for a whole year and keep playing well. Or I shouldn't say keep playing well, start playing well. So I don't think so. I think this is going to be what we see from him, and he needs to be in a bench role where he can come off the bench and maybe score those 10 points instead of starting. So we'll see what we get from Carmelo moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want him to do good. I really do.
I do too. I mean, ever since I saw him on that episode of Ned's the Classified School Survival Guide with the 2 tennis shoes.
Excuse me?
You know that episode I'm talking
No,
about?
I don't.
I know.
So basically, the main character, Ned, went to the Lost and Found and found Carmelo Anthony signed worn shoes, and he envisions in his mind, and then he actually comes for the shoes or whatever. But long story short, ever since then, I've been a Carmelo fan, and then even he went to New York, I love Carmelo then, and then after the Hawks debacle, and then went to Houston and all that.
Yes, Hawks legend Carmelo Anthony.
Yes, for barely any time, and I don't know. Like I said, I think his career is pretty much over, and like you said, Jared, a few weeks is probably a good guesstimate until I don't know. I don't
until
know.
he finds his way on the bench or gets cut.
I don't think Portland sees a long term position with him. This might be an answer for them to try and get out of this 5-10 record that they're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair for the Trailblazers, they don't have another forward. I mean, Scala Bissiere is your only other power forward on the team.
I'm sorry, who?
Exactly, Scala Bissiere. If you don't know who that is, and Dame was out with back spasms, so I don't know. Maybe when you have Dame time and Melo time out there, something happens.
Yeah, you still have CJ McCollum, who led you in scoring last night with 22. So, I mean, that's another all-star on the team.
You still have Hassan Whiteside, 14 and 10. I don't know. I want to do good though.
I do laugh at the plus or minus where he had the worst plus or minus out of anyone.
Yeah.
By 10.
What was it? He had
minus 20.
He had 5 turnovers and 5 assists.
Fouls.
5 fouls. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, shooting 4 for 14. Fouling 5 times and turning it over 5 times. It's not gonna. I mean, he had as many turnovers and fouls as he did points. So, yeah, that's the way to look at it.
That's not gonna help. Hey, look on the bright side though. Guess who did get a big win last night? The Golden State Warriors.
Yes,
114-95 on the road over John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies.
Which is big because John Morant's been one of the talks for Rookie of the Year this year. And me and Jacob had the conversation in our apartment last night. We were wondering if Golden State even won a game in their new arena, even though this game was on the road last night. And I think, didn't we say they did win a game?
Yeah, they've won 1 or 2. So they're 2 and 6 away, so 1 actually.
It just keeps getting worse because, D'Angelo Russell, he's having injuries now. I think SVP or somebody on SportsCenter had an episode of the new look Warriors, and it was a bunch of no names that I've never heard of before.
Guess who led the Warriors in scoring yesterday?
I probably couldn't.
I'm not looking at it. Is it Willie Cauley-Stein?
No, he had 6 points.
Dang, not even close.
That's probably. Other than him and Draymond Green, it's probably the only 2 Warriors you can name right now.
Yeah, I don't know who is it.
Alec Burks.
Who?
He had 29 points.
Well, and I'm looking at the box score now, and I see that Cauley-Stein and Draymond Green were the last place in scoring, 6 and 8 points. Everyone else scored double digits or 9 points or 17, other than Bowman, whoever that is.
Remember
Kai Bowman.
Yeah, remember Kai Bowman's the guy who started for them, and he could he can apply for low-income housing.
Oh, yeah.
That's that Kai Bowman.
Yes.
Good Lord.
He's the two-way player for the Warriors.
See, for the Warriors, the mindset you have to have right now is the best days are ahead because next year you're going to get Clay back. You'll have Steph back from injury. You'll have a healthy D'Angelo Russell. And then you'll also have, like Jacob said, Draymond Green.
Will they have a healthy D'Angelo Russell, or they trade him?
If they don't trade him, that's a big question, too, that'll come June. But
it's also like they'll probably get a high draft pick.
yes. So this year might suck for the Warriors for the rest of the season, but watch out. Next year, they could be back up there.
LaMelo Ball to the Warriors.
No, don't even put that thought in
Isaac
my mind.
Okoro to the Warriors.
Don't put that in my mind.
I think the funny thing is we were looking at NBA draft boards yesterday, and right now for the Lakers, they are projected to draft LaMelo Ball.
The Lakers?
Apparently.
I think he's like somebody came out with
No way they make that mistake again.
Well, somebody came out with a mock draft that said LaMelo right now is projected like 2 overall, I think, with James Wiseman being number 1. So
Yeah.
if a ball gets drafted top 5, that'd be crazy.
I mean, I don't think it'd be as crazy as we think, just because of the hype that's getting built up for him. Like, I agree, it'd be crazy because I just don't know what he's gonna do in the NBA. But I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen, just because that one guy at GM or whoever said he's the best player in this draft, and it's like,
is this also
really?
a product though of players like Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, like players playing professionally overseas and then coming back to the United States and be like, these guys aren't bad.
Yeah, but Porzingis and Luka are different.
They live over there.
They grew up
that's
and
true.
lived there, you know.
But the experience.
I think he's
going
gonna start off. Who was the recruit that is playing in Australia? He was like the number 1 overall recruit this year. I can't remember his name, but he and LaMelo are kind of the start up of that trend. And man, I don't like seeing it because I love college basketball. I love seeing the best players in the country playing there, but I do kind of understand what's happening. So I think that's what it's based off of.
Let me see. Let me go to NBADraft.net and look at the big board right now. So you may be looking at is it Theo?
No.
Meldon?
No.
Let's see. Nafale Dante from Mali?
RJ Hampton.
RJ Hampton? There he is. RJ Hampton. On this board, he's at number 17.
He's playing in New Zealand.
Gotcha.
That's only one spot behind where Chuma Okeke got drafted last year.
It is. And on this website, the first Auburn player that pops up. Why am I still scrolling this far? No, there's no. Hold up. Hold up. No, there's no way. That's the first Auburn player.
Who is it? Wait, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at this website.
2020 mock draft or
I think he's looking at draft
rankings?
Yeah, 2020 big board top 100 prospects on NBADraft.net. The first Auburn player comes in at 81.
Is it Austin Wiley?
It is Austin Wiley.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
nothing against Austin Wiley. I just thought that
Okoro. Well, here's the thing. A lot of people probably haven't noticed him yet. They're going to take notice of him once conference play starts and he really dominates. So he probably doesn't show up at all, to be honest, on that board.
Yeah.
Because whoever made it probably just didn't even think to put him on there. So,
I mean,
that's
fair.
my guess. Because, like, if you don't have him in the top 20 at least, you're doing something wrong. Because right now, like, he looks like a top 20 prospect for the NBA.
I did go to Tankathon as well, but let's not get into. Yeah, there's a website called Tankathon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess the Knicks are probably one of the top teams that are featured on that website.
I can go to mock draft, and right now it currently has what the seeding would be right now. James Wiseman will be the first pick to the Warriors.
Oh, I see this.
LaMelo Ball will be the 4th pick to the The Knicks. I mean, the Knicks want somebody that could be their guy. Who knows? Let's see. And I don't think there's any Auburn players right now.
Okoro's not on there.
Yeah. So you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
I don't think it'd be the worst thing in the world for him not to go in the draft and him to come back for a sophomore season.
Hey, we were talking about Auburn basketball yesterday. Auburn basketball's going to be set for the next couple of years. After getting a nice group of recruits committing just now,
And it's not over yet. We were telling that to Carter Bird because we ran into him leaving the game the other night, and we were talking about, you see a lot of youth playing right now, and they're all freshmen, so that's going to be a good thing when your 4 starting seniors plus Anthony McLemore all walk out the door next year. You got all that youth to come in and replace it, plus a Sharif Cooper and Chris Moore, Justin Powell, and possibly a Jalen Green.
We were talking yesterday. All right, so this year you have all your seniors that graduate, right?
Yes.
Next year, there's no seniors on the team.
No.
Now, does that mean nobody's leaving? No. People may declare for the draft, right? We're at that point where people stay 1 or 2 years and they're going to leave. You know what? That's fine. But to know that we're already seeing that youth movement for Auburn basketball, and that I feel like we'll still be in a pretty good position on the other side next year, it feels pretty good. It does feel pretty good. 'Cause I'm not going to lie. I didn't know what was going to happen when Chuma and Jared Harper and Bryce Brown all left, right? I feel pretty good about it now. And that makes me feel better about it for next year. With that being said, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about SEC basketball on the other side of the break and answer some questions that some people may have. You're watching Let's Take Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green.
Green, green, green. Make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream.
Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the US EPA. It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Gladiator, gladiator, gladiator. To fight with the gods and the giant slayer.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon joining me in the studio is Bain Marks and Jacob Hillman of the Scoreboard. Let's go ahead and let's talk about Auburn basketball. Sorry, I had something plastic on me. I was looking at the camera. I know something was on me. I was like, what is that? I had to... something... I'll have Britt clean that up. So, let's talk about Auburn basketball. And we were talking about it yesterday, and I just want to get you guys' opinion on it. Right now, currently, we know how the SEC preseason poll was. You had your Kentuckys, you had your Floridas, you had your LSUs, Auburn, and Tennessee, right? I believe that was the order off the top of my head. Currently, right now, is Auburn the best team in the SEC?
No. They're the hottest team in the SEC.
The hottest?
Yeah.
But are they the best?
No.
No?
Tennessee has a better resume. They beat a top 20 Washington team. And Auburn, yeah, they beat some mid-majors, which is impressive. But I think just because of that Power 5 win, I'll give the edge to Tennessee. with that being said, with the eye test, I think that Auburn can overcome that. I do think right now Tennessee is just the best team straight up. Auburn's still growing. So as long as they continue that growth, they can easily get to the top.
It's really hard because, like Jacob said, that win, and also you watch Auburn, and like I said, they're really hot right now. Samir Dowdy, Headband Dowdy, is playing out of his mind. The youth is really starting to come in. Okoro's showing out. You have people coming off the bench like Cambridge, Alan Flanagan, and then you have Jamal Johnson, a newcomer. It's tough. I'm with Jacob. I might give the edge to Tennessee right now, but, I mean, Auburn's literally right there. They've beaten veteran teams like Georgia Southern, Colgate. They played a good South Alabama team on the road and squeaked out a victory in Davidson. I mean, this Auburn team is for real. They're for real.
See, it's funny because yesterday it was completely flipped. It was flipped. It was Auburn is the best team. Now, I mean, that's getting the semantics at that point, right? Auburn's definitely top 2, if not top 3.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we talk about Tennessee, we talk about Auburn. That Kentucky loss to Evansville really deflated a lot of people on Kentucky, even Kentucky fans.
Then they struggled with
Utah Valley.
Utah Valley. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot what state they're from, but yeah.
I think Auburn's also better than LSU this year. And, I mean, not just because of the loss to VCU on the road. I mean, I haven't really seen a whole lot of consistency out of LSU. I think that they really have their highs and lows throughout the game. They do have a good defense, though, and especially against UMBC, they played well. I watched that the other night at the gym a little bit, but I think Auburn's better than LSU as well, which some people didn't think they would be coming into the season.
Yeah, right now I definitely have Auburn at number 2. I just don't trust. I'm still not trusting Javon McCormick as much, and he doesn't really have that guy to come in. Like Turbo Jones, he's still figuring things out. So that's where I don't really believe in Auburn to be the top team right now. I think that can change easily. We saw what McCormick did as the year went on last year. So if he does the same thing, then Auburn will easily be at the top because everyone else is doing great.
I think you're going to have to move Auburn to 3 here in a few weeks because I think this Kentucky team's just like they are every year. They're full of youth, and they're going to start gelling because you're going to get that every year with a Kentucky team with players that haven't played together. And like we said, they slipped up, and then they almost lost against Utah Valley. So Auburn's going to move down to 3 eventually, but they're within the top 3 with Tennessee and Kentucky.
I will say that Kentucky does look a little bit worse than they usually do. Like they usually have one of those slip-ups, and then they bounce right back. But, I mean, they did not bounce back this time. That Utah Valley game was ugly, and you shouldn't lose to Utah Valley. They were like 237 and Ken Palm or whatever going into that game. It's not good. So
a team that Auburn faces coming up soon. I was getting really excited because there's going to be undefeated versus undefeated in Brooklyn. But if you didn't catch it, New Mexico lost last night.
UTEP.
To UTEP.
Yeah, I wrote my article for WeagleFM.com that I think Auburn was going to lose this game, but I feel like that prediction's probably going to be wrong now, especially with how hot Auburn is.
Yeah, UTEP being at home, I wouldn't be it's one of those games where it's a neutral site, which I think there's going to be a lot of Auburn fans there. We saw they showed out in Annapolis for the game against Davidson. I wouldn't be completely surprised if New Mexico won just because being in Brooklyn, neutral site, they're a solid team. But I do think that they're going to end up going into the NC State game undefeated this year. I think they're going to get there undefeated. Now, Wisconsin or Richmond is a different story. Well, I don't know who they're going to play. Wisconsin probably could beat them, but I don't know what Richmond is all about.
I have no idea what's going on with Wisconsin right now. I know they lost to 1 game to St. Mary's, and since then, I haven't really heard anything from them.
Yeah, so, it's just one of those big names I wouldn't be surprised to see show up in a neutral site.
Let's see. Big Ten, Wisconsin. Do they play tonight? They do not play tonight. Do they play Thursday? They do play Thursday. It still have 1 loss, so 3-1, and they play Green Bay on Thursday.
Yeah, they have a win over Marquette, which I believe they still have Marquette. Do they still have? No, they didn't. I think Marcus Howard is gone. No, they do have Marcus Howard still. He did not play well against Wisconsin. He went 6 for 21 for 18 points.
Yeah, I mean, that St. Mary's loss doesn't look too unimpressive. I mean, it was only by 2.
Yeah.
St. Mary's is a good team in and year out. So.
And that game was in the Pentagon.
Yes.
So, I'm just saying.
They have a common opponent with Auburn, which is NC State, but that's after Auburn would potentially face off with them in the Barclays Center.
Yeah, in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. We do know Auburn does have another non-con game in their schedule with Iowa State. That should be a fun one in the middle of SEC play. But once again, I think it's really coming together, right, for this Auburn team. South Alabama was a scare for Auburn, and I think it's kind of brought this team together. The hardship of that game and just kind of grinding through for that win. And then the next games would just seem to be – it's been a lot of fun in Auburn Arena, those last two games.
Is it safe to say that Okoro game winner was like Okiki's game winner against Georgia last year? Just the difference is Okiki's happened in the last or second to last game for March, and this one happened in November. Now, which is kind of scary because that can easily cool off.
Oh, I would say it's kind of scary because what happened to Okiki later in March.
No, it's not what I was thinking of. But I was thinking of just this team, like, when that happened, they really just turned it on, and now they're dominating. So we'll see if that continues. And like I said, my issue is that it's not March, it's November. So what happens now only matters a little bit. You just got to do enough to get in the tournament.
I'm fully expecting Auburn to have a slump somewhere, right, where they just not necessarily lose, but they just look not good in a couple of games in a row. I don't know when it will be, but I got to make sure to temper my expectations in that everybody has their slump. Auburn's going to have it eventually. They're not going to be this hot team that rides through non-con, that rides through conference and be fine.
Well, my thing is like we went into the season knowing that the strength of Auburn would be their defense, and we've seen that every single game so far this year. And we were really concerned about the offense. Would we get enough production out of the veterans returning? What about the freshmen stepping up? And it's safe to say after South Alabama, like I said, them turning it up at home against CSUN, which they were terrible, but against Colgate, a team that went to the tournament last year and returned 5 starters, the offense looked incredible. They were up 71-29 at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unprecedented. That's insane.
The score probably shouldn't have been as close as it was, but Colgate went on a run, and the offense didn't look so good. So it's one of those things where I actually think that Auburn might run the table in non-conference play. I don't think it will, but I think it could.
My next question was, does Auburn go undefeated in non-con?
No, I don't see Auburn losing in the Mike's Live Invitational, even though that's against St. Louis team, because there's going to be a freaking huge Auburn crowd. And then I think at home against NC State, I said in that article, Auburn's gonna beat NC State. They got a terrible taste in their mouth from last year. If they do slip up, like I said, it's going to be New Mexico in the Barclays
It's going to be that New Mexico, Wisconsin.
because their offenses before that game, they were averaging like 94 points a game. Like this is a very offensive team.
My issue is I don't know who they slip up to. I mean,
the Legends Classic would be it
would have to be
the circle on the schedule
because every other non-conference game's at home.
Yeah,
and I kind of agree with him that the NC State game kind of leaves a bad taste in their. Like last year, they didn't let them shoot around because they had graduation or whatever. Well, hopefully Auburn has graduation that day as well. But it's something where the non-conference schedule is all those mid-majors that Auburn should be. And fortunate for them, they have. So it's not that incredibly strong, but it's still a good resume at the end of the year when you look at these mid-majors that they beat.
I also think that in Birmingham, a side note against St. Louis, like Bruce has been talking about, like, this is a good St. Louis team. If you remember, that was the game that D'Angelo Purifoy got to come back from injury and play, and he underperformed, and Auburn went down to the wire with a good UAB team from Conference USA, and they weren't happy with that after the game because that really kind of started leading to the downfall of Auburn throughout SEC play. So watch for them to, turn it up in that game.
With that being said, let's go ahead and head to our next commercial break. And when we come back, we're heading over to the NFL. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Walking away from you. That's what I'm gonna do. I got the same.
Oh my, breathe, breathe, breathe. You got to make it breathe. It's your home, it's your dream, it's your dream. Breathe on, test and living healthy and clean. Make it breathe, 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 breathe.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green.
Green, green, green. Make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream.
Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth?
You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel? Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Can't keep me down.
And welcome back to Extra Point here on WEG on 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillard and joining me in the studio at the scoreboard of Bay Marks and Jacob Hillman. We hit NBA basketball and college basketball, and we're going to head right back over to the NFL to give the takes for the scoreboard. So we talked about early in the first hour is kind of contenders and pretenders in NFL. Who's kind of high on your list and who you're just not feeling right now. We talked about that. We also kind of just broke down each conference, who's the best, who's going to sneak their way in. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, on first hour, I said the Raiders may win the rest of their games.
Their schedule's easy.
Their schedule's easy. The only tough game, I believe, if I remember correctly, is the Chiefs.
So they're on a 3-game win streak, and you're saying they win their next 6 and end the season on a 9-game win streak?
I think they can if you look at that schedule.
Let's see.
At the Jets, at the Chiefs, against the Titans at home, versus the Jaguars, at the Chargers, and at the Broncos.
The one tough game is the Chiefs, maybe the Titans.
The Chargers might be tough, too, on the road.
Yeah, not unless Philip Rivers gets to the red zone. Then it's easy dubs. And they already beat the Chargers once this year.
My issue is I just don't buy this Oakland offense. Like, Josh Jacobs is playing really well, but if he gets shut down, I don't know what Derek Carr's going to do. Because it seems like he only throws little curl routes every single play. I just don't trust him to throw the ball downfield.
Also, the Chiefs, I mean, the only tough, besides the Raiders, the only tough game remaining on their schedule is at New England, and then they finish with Broncos at home, at Chicago, who's terrible, and then the Chargers at home. So, I don't know. That'll be interesting.
It is going to be interesting to watch the West. Also interesting, we saw it on Sunday Night Football, and we were told it's been an injury, but Trubisky did not play that final drive. Chase Daniel came in, said it was an injury. It started all the speculation. You know, Trubisky's came back. He's played however he's played. Do the Bears move on after this season? Or the two?
Matt Nagy?
They're trading for Cam. They're trading for Cam.
For both. From either Matt Nagy or from Trubisky.
Probably Trubisky. I don't know about Nagy.
They passed up on so many great quarterbacks in that draft, too, when they drafted Mitch Trubisky, which everybody was like, coming out of North Carolina, Mitch Trubisky's got the build to be the next big NFL quarterback, and he looked like it for a few games, and then somebody wrote an article or said something on social media about how he might pass Aaron Rodgers in the NFC North for like the king of the NFC North, and then it just went downhill after that 10-3 loss.
That's a hot take right there. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky, yeah. Nagy, I don't think they're sour on him. I just think, you know.
He has been a little adamant, like, at his press conferences. There are a lot of, I think it's because he has such a bad quarterback that, like, it's hard for him to do anything. I mean, what can you do? So
they don't have a bad team. They just have
The most important position is bad.
They have the players. They just need I say leader. They need a quarterback.
That's true.
And, depending on where the Bears land in the draft, do they have a first-round pick this year?
Probably not. They probably gave it up to Oakland.
I can't remember because Oakland had their pick last year, I believe. I don't know if they had it this year too.
I feel like they got 2 first-round picks.
I get confused when it comes to who has whose draft picks, so I don't know.
But I mean, if say you don't have a first-round pick, what do you do? What do you do next year? What do you go do?
It's like I said, you got to trade, and I know Jacob doesn't like it, but it's probably Cam.
I don't think the Panthers will give him up. After what Kyle Allen's shown, you can't give him up. Unless you just give up on the next 5 years. I really think that would, if the Panthers gave up Cam Newton, they would be giving up for the next several years and it'd be a complete rebuild.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that Kyle Allen's played bad, though. The Packers lost stings because it was a one-score game there towards the end. I mean, the 49ers...
Did you see what he did against the Falcons?
Okay, yeah, the Falcons was bad, too. But, before that, the only bad game he had really played in was the 49ers game. Played well against the Bucs, in my opinion.
The Bucs.
The Jags. Okay.
The Jags.
Okay.
These are not good teams.
I'm just not going to say anything because I'm just triggering Hillman. It gets annoying, so I'm not going to say anything.
But with that being said, I did bring up a mock draft from WalterFootball.com. The first pick, Cincinnati Bengals.
Joe Burrow.
They need Joe Burrow bad. They're 0-10.
Joe Burrow. Love to see that. If you're wondering, some other guys, Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle from Georgia, going to Washington, number 2. Chase Young going number 3 to the Giants. That could be a good punch for them. Number 4 is the next quarterback taken in the draft. It is quarterback Justin Herbert going to Miami. Then we get number 5, wide receiver Jerry Jeudy going to Alabama. Number 6 is safety Grant Delpit to Tampa Bay. Number 7, CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver going to Denver. Number 8 is Jeff Okudah, cornerback from Ohio State. Here we go. Number 9, defensive tackle from Auburn going to Arizona, Derek Brown.
Yeah, you could argue that's a little too low for him.
He might go higher than that.
But one of the people who just mentioned, Justin Herbert, his decision to come back and play for final year has paid off, big time. He improved his draft stock.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one. At number 11, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa to the Chargers.
I think that's fair.
They
got to move on from Rivers at some point.
I think there was a stat with him. It was he's got the most one-score losses in NFL history or something as a starting quarterback.
Well, it's kind of like that. That year they started 2-5 or whatever, and every year it seems like the Chargers start off 2-5 and they just roar back and finish with the winning record, stinging in the playoffs. But I think that would be a good pick because Rivers probably has one more season left in him, and then Tua can be rehabbing and learning. And there you go.
Here you go, Jacob. This is for you. Number 18, Carolina Panthers select Raekwon Davis, defensive end and defensive tackle out of Alabama. Defensive line help.
Yeah, I would rather have an offensive line help because the offensive line is terrible.
That's true.
The defensive line's okay with Brian Burns as a pass rusher. Gerald McCoy probably has a few more years at the defensive tackle spot, but the O-line needs a lot of help.
According to this mock draft, the Bears do not have a first-round pick.
Yeah, they do. They have 2 second-round picks, which is kind of big.
Who do the Packers get? That's a real question.
Have I seen the Packers here?
They have a first-round pick?
They do. Number 27, Shane Lamo, guard out of Oregon.
Yes. They need O-line help.
Yeah.
Right in the middle. Well, our tackle spots are fine with Bakhtiari, but we need guard help.
I don't like how they're going with the Colts. Colts quarterback Jacob Eason out of Washington with the first pick.
No more Jacoby Brissett
in the first round.
That's no.
Y'all need to draft a quarterback later in the draft.
Maybe, but we ain't doing it with the first.
Brian
pick.
Hoyer ain't it?
Yeah,
you have someone to beat him.
Then what do they draft in the first round?
In the first round, offensive line's fine. Yeah. They'll probably go right back to defense.
Somewhere
and go defensive line.
Yeah. Somewhere on the defense would be the best way to go.
Defensive line or cornerback. They have good cornerbacks, but everybody's getting hurt. Or one thing the Colts do need, they need a big wide receiver. T.Y. Hilton is hurt. Paris Campbell hasn't really done anything.
So in that situation, you mentioned some wide receivers going in the top 10. Do they try and trade up to get a CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy?
I think it's more possible that I think Colts they might trade back.
Yeah, I also think that those guys might drop a little bit. Judy hasn't, well, not CeeDee Lamb, but Judy hasn't.
Judy's dropped a lot of passes
that crazy this year.
Yeah,
so
CeeDee Lamb's been the only real big weapon with Jalen this year.
And it's also important to point out the Colts have, I believe, they have a second-round pick from the Dolphins from last year. So they'll be very early in the second round as well. And there they have a cornerback at Mississippi State, Cameron Dantzler. And he's pretty good. I just like going through mock drafts because it's fun. Nick Coe to Atlanta with the 39th pick.
Is that before Marlon Davidson?
Yeah, I don't
what?
think. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What is this?
No comment.
If anything, he comes back next year. What?
No comment.
I'm just going through.
He would probably have a pretty good combine. Think about it.
Combine, yeah, but
yeah.
If he really wants to get a bag, then if the smart decision would be return for another year, which would probably be my guess as to what Rodney Gardner would say. I think Marlon's improved his draft stock, if anything.
Let's see. Trying to find anybody else. Green Bay with the next pick. Kendrick Rogers, wide receiver out of Texas A&M.
I don't hate it. Just another weapon.
That's the guy the Colts should go for.
With the 59th pick, right before the Packers, offensive tackle at Auburn, Prince Tega Wanogo to the Seahawks to protect Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Not terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Do the Panthers have a second round pick?
I'm also not sure.
Oh, there they are. Here you go, Jacob. Carolina Panthers with a 49th pick. Wide receiver T. Higgins out of Clemson.
Would be very much okay with that. Like the Colts, Panthers don't have a big receiver. It's DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Jarius Wright, Greg Olsen, and Christian McCaffrey. So,
which Greg Olsen, who knows how much time he's got left in his cleats?
Yeah,
maybe 2 years.
Maybe next year.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I was gonna say it depends on how healthy he stays, I guess.
I mean, and it's hard for him to stay healthy because he's had that foot injury so much that I don't know how much he's gonna hold up.
I wouldn't be upset if he retired after this year. It's kind of just that thing of
So why I think he will retire after this year is because he's been doing the broadcast stuff. Like on Panthers bye weeks the last 2 years, he's done a broadcast with Fox. So
yeah,
I think he's gonna hang it up after this year.
He has one foot out the door, pretty much.
Pretty much, like he's already got a great relationship with Fox. People have praised his analysts, so I really think that he is gonna hang it up after this year.
With that being said, contenders and pretenders, we kind of got away from that because I saw the draft board and I was like, ooh.
You got excited.
Yeah, I did get excited. I love the draft, the March Madness, college football bowl games. I just love that kind of stuff. It just gets me all jittery inside. But contenders and pretenders. Let's first go with teams that we think are the real deal, bona fide. For me, like I said, Oakland's kind of that team. I think they're going to figure it out, and I think that with their easy schedule, they're a wildcard team, and maybe they can win the West if they can figure out the Chiefs. If the Chiefs keep going downhill like they are, then maybe, yeah, Oakland could be that team. Who's a team like that for you guys?
I think my team that is probably going to win their division is Seattle. I mean, I know you don't like that because you're high on the 49ers, but they're only a game behind the 49ers. They have another matchup with them in Seattle this time. I think Russell Wilson's having a better season than Jimmy Garoppolo, and the 49ers schedule, I mean, they have to play the Packers at home. They have to go on the road to the Ravens and the Saints, who are both leading their division. Then 2 cupcakes and the Falcons and Rams at home. And then, like I said, they got to end the season at the Seahawks.
Are the Rams considered a cupcake now?
I mean, have you watched them play this year?
I mean, that's just hard for me to get my head around.
And then you have, because they went to Super Bowl last year. And then you have Seattle, who, I mean, at the beginning of the season was squeaking out wins. They just beat San Francisco in overtime after beating Tampa Bay in overtime. And then they had to play teams as the likes of Minnesota, Los Angeles, Carolina, and Arizona before they finish off against San Francisco. So the schedule favors the Seahawks. I think they're a contender, and I think they win the NFC West.
Jacob, what about you?
I'm going with the Vikings. I don't think they'll win the NFC North because I think the Packers will pull that out. But I think they'll be one of those top wildcard teams that you can really expect to make some noise in the playoffs, especially because they'll be facing a really bad divisional winner in the NFC East. Eagles or Cowboys, and I think the Vikings will win those games. They've just gotten hot lately. Kirk Cousins finally showing a pulse. And in that game against the Broncos, he played well in the fourth quarter. Who knew that could happen?
We gave him a hard time earlier this year. Him and Stephon Diggs.
I still will.
Because that was back when Stephon Diggs was saying, like, they're like, do you still want to be in Minnesota? And he was like, yeah, and he like winked. So,
and Diggs had that 50-yard touchdown. I really think that the Vikings will be that wild card team that makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, and the wild card in the NFC is pretty much locked up. I mean, you got two teams. What, Seattle? What, 7-2, 8-2?
8-2.
Minnesota 8-3.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not many teams on the outside getting in a wild card.
If Seattle doesn't win it.
If Seattle doesn't win it.
Then that put the 49ers in it, who are also stacked.
That is a good point. I say the Vikings will be that top wild card team, but I don't know. I would not be surprised to see the Niners or Seahawks be that top one, whoever doesn't win the division. So the NFC is going to be really interesting because of the wild card.
I think it's always more competitive than the AFC regardless the past few years. It's a fun conference.
Where the AFC, if you look at the wild card, it's like
bad.
10 teams trying to claw their way in.
I remember I saw the in the hunt thing, and I mean the list was so long.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the only team mathematically out of the playoffs is the Bengals right now. So
Dolphins gonna make a run. Watch out.
The Dolphins are 2-8.
I'm just saying they can easily end at 500. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's head to our last commercial break, and we come back. It's the pretenders that we're worried about in the NFL. We'll give you those on the other side of the break as you're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Like a light, like a light, slept through the flight, not for the night, 767, man, this shit got double bedroom, man, I still got scores to settle, man, I crept down the block, made a right, yeah.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on Weagle 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, Weagle FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with Weagle Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WEGLFM.com and Weagle 91.1 FM, Auburn.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hold up! Whoa, 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 whoa! Get out the way, get out the way, get out the way, yeah! Yeah! Get out the way, get the up on my way, yeah! Yeah! You either with me or against me, though.
And welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Hello, everybody. Jared Dillon and joining me in the studio, the scoreboard of Bay Marks and Jacob Hillman. As we're now going to the pretenders of the NFL. So who wants to go first? Who's just pretending to be good right now?
I mean, I guess the easy choice would be probably Kansas City. They haven't been super impressive this year, especially with Mahomes being hurt. That kind of hurt them when they lost to the Packers in a close game. And then they lost to the Titans on the road, which was embarrassing.
Even with Mahomes, they haven't looked impressive.
The first two games of the year, they looked okay. And then really when they started after they played the Ravens and they played the Lions on the road. Even the Lions on the road wasn't pretty. That's when they lost to the Colts, the Texans. It's weird. It's weird because Kansas City beat the Ravens and the Ravens beat the Texans, and then the Texans beat the and then the Texans beat the Chiefs.
The Texans also got by the Ravens. So
yeah, it was not close. I kind of agree with Bay on the Kansas City thing. I don't think that they'll do much in the playoffs because of the Ravens and the Patriots, and who knows what a wild card team can do to them, because I think the Patriots and Ravens have it locked up as the 1 and 2 seeds. I mean, Kansas City's obviously still in play, but I don't think it'll happen. But I'm going to have to say the Bills. I don't think that they're going to get into the playoffs. I just, what they've done the last few games, losing to the Browns. They did okay against the Redskins, winning 24-9. It was a good defensive effort, but also losing to the Eagles by almost 20. I don't see them finishing this year strong. Plus, they got to face the Broncos, go to the Cowboys, face the Ravens, at the Steelers, at the Patriots, and then the Jets. Schedule is not favorable at all.
I want to say the Vikings as well, just because they're in the NFC North, and after how they played against the Broncos, only winning by 4. But I think they're pretty decent this year, so I can't say that.
I was looking at the win differentials in the NFC, and I was scrolling through. The Ravens have the biggest win differential in football at 145.
Patriots have 179.
I'm sorry, I missed the Patriots.
How dare you disrespect Tom Brady and Bill Belichick?
Well, Tom Brady, did you see the offense against Philadelphia? That was bad.
Yeah.
So Patriots are number 1 at 179, and Baltimore at 145. I didn't know San Francisco was at 140.
Yep.
I mean,
the Panthers game helped.
Yeah, to be fair, the Panthers game helped out a lot. But man, that's a big differential for the 49ers. For me, when it comes to a pretender, I said it in the first hour, and I'll say it again, and it kind of goes against what Bay said a couple minutes ago. Still don't know about the Seahawks team. I really don't. And it's not they're 8-2.
Can you not say the same about the 49ers?
Yes.
We know the defense.
The defense is good. It's the other side of the ball for both teams. For 49ers, it's the offense. For the Seahawks, their defense has scared me.
Yeah, they gave up how many points to the Bucs?
Which is weird because it hasn't been like that in years past.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, defense travels. So if you have to go on the road or go to a place that's not going to be very, kind to you, you got to take defense. So I think the 49ers have the edge in those type of situations, whereas the Seahawks have to go somewhere and their offense is not producing, they're not winning that game. And you look at the Seahawks schedule, and they've had tough games. They won by, 1 against the Bengals. They won by 1 against the Rams, 4 against the Browns. They got beat by the Ravens. They lost. They beat Atlanta by 7, but was almost blanked in the first half. They barely got out against Tampa Bay. And if the 49ers kicker didn't shank the field goal as a game winner, they don't win in San Francisco. Now, that's a lot of ifs and all that, but I need to see a little bit more of this Seahawks defense before I start saying, all right, they're the real deal.
That's fair.
Right? I know what Russell Wilson can do. Russell Wilson can turn water into wine.
Yeah.
But that defense, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with a bad defense.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I feel like that's probably why people are so hesitant on the Seattle team, and I would agree also with the point that you just made of the only reason why I'm high on them is because of one of the MVP candidates right now in Russell Wilson. I don't know that like we keep saying, the end of this stretch, it's probably going to come down to December 29th in Seattle, the 3:25 Fox game of the week. It's probably going to come down to that.
Yeah, I would say so. Now, you do make a great point. The 49ers rest of the schedule, the next 3 games, when you have the Packers, the Saints, and who else is in that stretch? Somebody else that's good.
Tell you.
Yeah. It's going to be tough.
They play the Packers, they play the Saints, and they also go on the road to Baltimore in between. And it's in New Orleans as well. The only home game is Green Bay, and they also finish. They have 2 cupcakes in Atlanta and Los Angeles.
That's the next 3 games, probably the toughest in the NFL.
That's not kind.
You're playing probably the top 3 teams in the NFL.
Well, I don't know. Baltimore had a tough stretch there as well, where they played New England, Seattle, Houston, and then Lamar Jackson got it done. They beat the Seahawks on the road, Patriots, and then Texans.
Yeah.
So no, but you're up. Yeah, you're right. That's a super tough stretch in the National Football League.
And Ravens are like the favorite to win the whole thing right now, I would say.
Yeah, they're hot, and that's what you need in the NFL is to be hot.
Yeah. Anything else in the NFL before we get out of here?
Not much. I'm hoping Aaron Rodgers can make a freaking MVP push soon. I mean, he was up there for a week or two, and then the Chargers happened. So thank you, LA.
Yeah.
I will never forgive you.
Jacob, anything else in the NFL?
It's time to tank if we're talking about our favorite teams. And I'm the Carolina Panthers. It's tanking time.
It's tanking time?
Yep.
Jacob's pulling the lever. It's time to tank. It's time to go get the best pick we can.
We're Lombardi bound.
Lombardi bound for the Packers?
I don't know. Where's the Super Bowl at this year? It's not Atlanta.
It's in Florida?
I think it's in Miami.
I think it's in Miami.
Yeah, it is because Pitbull's are. Pitbull was going to be there. It's not announced, but he's going to be there.
That'll be the biggest win in Miami this year.
Pitbull and Flo Rida?
I don't know about Flo Rida.
Oh.
But the who are the two people? Is it like J-Lo and someone else? J-Lo and Shakira. Those are the performers.
Shakira.
What if the Dolphins go on a run?
That's what I'm saying.
This is NFL 100 season, 30 for 30. Here we go right here.
The weirdest season yet in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's so much has happened.
To Super Bowl champion, and
it's gonna be like the Nationals. They squeak into the playoffs. They've been the hottest team since week so and so, and then they go on a run and defeat.
They go from tanking from tour to toking the Lombardi Trophy. Yeah,
that'll be the biggest one in Miami.
Yeah. That being said, thank you both for joining me on the show. It's always a lot of fun. That was a Dallas Mavericks alert. Don't worry about that. Thank you for all the fun on the show for Wednesday, and we'll be right back tomorrow with Pick'em. And that should be a lot of fun as well. Not a lot of great games. There's only one top 25 matchup this week in football.
And the scoreboard tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So make sure you tune in for that as well. But thank you guys for joining me on Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 FM. That does it for the Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 FM and Eagle Eye TV. Want to watch more? Catch replays of the Extra Point on Eagle Eye TV by going to eagleeyeauburn.com. You can also go to WEGL 91.1 FM YouTube page for full replays. Want to listen more? We have you covered. Tune in to Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud and search WEGL 91.1 FM for more of the Extra Point and other sports content. Stay up to date with the latest news and sports by visiting WEGLFM.com. The Extra Point, bringing you the X's and O's from around the plains of Auburn and around the world of sports. Auburn's best sports talk radio show, Auburn's only sports talk TV show. Watch and listen live Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. WEGL Sports, where every game lives.
Fireball.